7 years ago, working with an organization in the community, and I got to see a show at St. Cloud State and absolutely loved it. And so when we had the opportunity to bring his work here, it's just been such a great opportunity, and getting to see his growth as an artist as well. So I'm going to hand the mic over to David, and he's going to talk a little bit about the show. And then we'll open up the floor for questions.
Great. Thank you. Again, thank you, Becky, and all the art helpers. I appreciate it. Also, Ellie and Rachel, thank you very much. The best people in the world. It's true. Many, many hours, as you can tell, we're in the studio, so I appreciate it. I'm going to explain a little bit, and everyone can hear me? Okay, about the beginning of the exhibit, how it came about. I'll discuss Yogi, not Yogi first, which is kind of in that area, and then kind of the messenger, which is here. It starts probably 15, 17 years ago. I lived in Salt Lake City. While out and about, an older gentleman was having a garage sale and selling 40 to 50 of his paintings. He was dying of cancer and selling all of his work. I bought 6 of his paintings. They were kind of colorful, strange, kind of an outsider artist. One of those paintings I had in my studio, which is of 2 yogis, which you can kind of see when you walk in. It's on the very right in the hallway. So it depicts 2 yogis. One yogi, who I think of as someone searching for enlightenment, ultimate truth, kind of that quintessential idea of the yogi. The other yogi depicted Yogi Bear. For those who don't know, Hanna-Barbera was a production company created in the 1960s. Yogi Bear he lived in Jellystone Park, always trying to steal a picnic basket and continually up to mischief. There are 2 other main characters. Ranger Smith, he was the stern authority figure of Jellystone. He was a somewhat antagonistic relationship with Yogi and would try and stop Yogi from stealing park visitors' picnic baskets and other mischief. And then Boo Boo was his younger constant companion. Usually he was the voice of reason. So first, I do want to stress, though, that the exhibit is not about Yogi Bear in the literal sense. For me, he is the trickster god. He is the opposite of the other yogi. Yogi Bear represents how we get seduced, sidetracked, bamboozled. He is the weirding of everything. He is our weather, our politics, our beliefs. He is QAnon. He is the flat earther and every half-witted conspiracy theorist. He is America. He is this moment today. He is where everything is unreal. He is the world as fiction. So making this work, I asked myself what would be revealed about my own beliefs and foundational cultural myths if I put Yogi and other Hanna-Barbera characters into iconic representations of those myths. For instance, recreating the story of Abraham and Isaac, or the Mormon prophet Joseph Smith's first vision, using Hanna-Barbera characters to examine these stories. What if I or you created the image of Yogi over 5,000 times? Would our requests, prayers be answered? What if Yogi was a great beast prophesied in the Bible? What if our souls resembled Casper, another Hanna-Barbera character, when departing the body? Would we deal with death and grief differently? So I'm just going to briefly talk, and maybe I'll kind of give where those are at, talk a little bit about different works and where they came about. When you walk in the exhibit, I did a piece of 7,278 yogis to manifest a tulpa. A tulpa is a being or thought form created through intense concentration and spiritual practice. I wanted to introduce Yogi Bear into this exhibit space. I started the work at the beginning of the installation, and it took about 6 to 7 hours. I wanted a piece that was meant to be destroyed and transitory. It also felt good introduction to the exhibit. With these pieces, I was thinking a lot about mantras, rosary prayers, repetition, and endurance. With all these works, I start with a prompt, idea, or feeling, and count out the yogis until it is done, or I receive something. I think of each as a prayer or a supplication. The other one, I think, is in the corner left, is called The Expulsion from Eden, Jellystone. That painting encapsulates a lot of ideas for the exhibit. I was seeing a lot of similarities between the story of the Garden of Eden and Yogi Bear, Jellystone. Yogi was also trapped and guarded by a higher power authority figure, that of Ranger Smith. Yogi is eternally tempted by the picnic basket. We'll never find out what is in that basket. Is it the apple, some hidden knowledge, eternal life? In this painting, I depict Yogi and Boo Boo being expelled from Jellystone by Ranger Smith, and the flaming sword after partaking of the tree of knowledge, picnic basket, even though he was instructed by the sign nailed to the tree not to partake. Once they open the basket, they gain knowledge and awareness of themselves. They must leave Jellystone forever, but by doing so, they now gain awareness of their lives, conscious of their actions to live freely. As you might notice, I am fascinated by spiritualism, magic, and belief. For the children's seance table, that's over kind of below the bear. There's a lot of bears. The bear on top of the looking over us. I saw a lot of similarities between the seance table and the television. Both have a transmitter and receiver. I saw the remote control as a planchette, which is, if you've ever seen kind of movies, kind of other things, kind of the thing that they hold on the table that tells them, moves to the letter, such. Receiving instructions and scrambling the message from some unseen place. The television signal is transmitting through the ether. I remember watching television when I was young, being fascinated by the merging of static and image. The bent spoons mimic the magic of Uri Geller. Last series I'm going to talk about is Casper, The Earth Begins Elsewhere. These are kind of on the sidewall of the photographs. Casper, the Friendly Ghost, is another Hanna-Barbera cartoon about a young boy who dies and would rather make friends than scare others. For me, it was an opportunity to address death. I imagine, what if our souls, when departing our body, resemble Casper and would haunt the earth? I had this image of the soul, Casper, leading through the eyes, surprised about this new world and new experience he is having. All of them are found photos, except for one I did of my mom. I realized I didn't have any type of ritual to grieve, so it felt important to create the work. It felt uneasy, but important. The exhibit ends with Yogi on his deathbed, aware, and contemplating his own journey in life. I feel I could talk about it forever. I love being kind of part of that world, but now I'll kind of just talk about the messenger, which is back here in the back room. Before entering, there's a small painting on that wall over there based on a quote by 19th century poet, French poet Charles de Nerval, that reads, "Often the most obscure of beings houses a hidden God, and like a nascent eye veiled by its lids, a pure spirit buds beneath the husks of stones." Everything in this series, and even the Yogi series, can go back to this quote. The small hidden things obscured and holding wonder. Many of the work started intuitively back here. The messenger is the creative process, that moment of inspiration, instructed by some unseen force, a hidden agent. That still small voice, idea, image that comes from some hidden place, obscured until it is not. It is that region between you and the artwork, the area beneath the husk of stones. Someone recently asked my favorite painting of these series, and I think it might be The Bee Stung by Darkness, which is in the corner over there. It started off as a title that I loved, and I was intrigued by. First thing I did was paint a bee shrouded in a cloud of darkness. The painting started slowly and soon became filled with countless non-human objects and machines processing the creative act and replicating themselves again and again. The machines are the messengers. In the painting, they recreated some of my past artwork, some of which you see in the exhibit now, and work yet to be created. I still look at this piece and have no idea what it is about. There's also a series titled The Shy Cultist, which is over there, with an image of a man trying to contact and connect with another. He's surrounded by archaic language. He is trying to recreate and reanimate a life and examine all the things that make up the body. In the shy occultist year 2, which is the one on the right, you see animals, minerals, and plants, etc. on the bottom third of the painting. The man is questioning and combining these basic building blocks of life. The middle half shows fleshy meat, innards, organs, and viscera. He again is trying to combine endless permutations of the basic building blocks of life. The third top shows him at a staircase, which leads to a red roofed home with the words apoplectic written. Which means something that is incomprehensible and cannot be understood. He is back to where he started. Another one, right here. I used gouache. Almost everything I paint is in gouache. I painted a detailed image of hands, 2 are out each hands. Gouache is a water-based paint that breaks apart when wet. I buried it in snow for 3 months and until the snow melted. What you see is a slow process of the disintegration of the image. I wanted to take myself out of the end result. The centerpiece of the exhibit is a painting titled 9 Rocks from Ruhlman. Ruhlman was a 14th century mystic who wrote a book titled The Book of 9 Rocks. Mershman writes that each rock represents increasingly higher levels of spiritual attainment. The painting is covered in activated charcoal, iodine, and paint, all in grocery bags affixed to wood panels. In the corners are painted faux rocks. Next to them, on a shelf, I created 5 additional ceramic rocks, all together equaling 9. On the left of the painting is a work that again uses activated charcoal, iodine, and mirror paint on plexiglass, again hoping for a place of reflection. Looking at these paintings in the exhibit, I saw many as a way of me dealing with grief and questioning my own creative process. Again, I thank each of you for coming tonight. Your support, I truly appreciate. So I now leave it up to anyone who has questions. I would imagine my view.